Hello, welcome back to the NLC. We're getting ready to go into game number 3 of the day. This is going to be KOVA versus Fnatic Rising. Fnatic so far undefeated, 3-0 over in Group B. KOVA are 1-2 right now. What are we making of these guys then?
Bit of an uphill battle, I think it goes without saying, but we saw some potential come out from KOVA, and I think as a team, it just comes down to playing to your strengths. Yeah. We kind of saw XL fall prey to that as well. We have these academy teams who come in with these harder to execute drafts, which put a lot of pressure on individual players, as they should, because they are such accomplished roster. But you pick an easy to execute team fight composition, you play for that. And either way, if you lose this, obviously it's rough for KOVA with how they've sort of gone so far through the split. But Fnatic is a hard opponent, so you might as well just give it your all.
But I will say, you look at the matches KOVA have played, right? It's been Galaxy Racer, Nordvind, obviously Godsend they took down yesterday. So I think record also kind of reflective of they've been playing the teams we expect to be on the top half. Yeah. And this is the other team we expect to be in the top half in Fnatic. So like you say, I think they can obviously bring it to Fnatic if they stick to comfort, if they try and bring this team fight, sort of try and sit back but not bleed a whole bunch, right? And see if you can try and take fights, third dragon onwards type deal. But honestly, Fnatic haven't looked infallible. In all honesty, I think they've not really looked as good as they can be. Yes, they're 3-0, but something still, I have a few question marks. But this is the kind of game that you expect Fnatic to try and roll over. I mean, they had a very quick and very dominant game versus Galaxy Racer yesterday as well. So expecting kind of more of that. I think Fnatic are definitely trying to return to form. I think both our academy teams are currently trying to return to form, but Fnatic, they had a rough spring split. They had a even more rough EU Masters. We can kind of keep going on to that. Anyway, picks and bans are going off, and the Ezreal is going to get first picked here by Fnatic Rising. Didn't see it get banned away this game. The Gwen is still open. The Rumble is still open. The Fresh is still open. There's a lot open right now.
Kai's still open as well, which I actually expected that to be maybe a contested pick between these two because Bean and Snurmy play it so much, but my expectation was maybe KOVA leave the Kai'Sa open and then they pick like the Jinx, which you saw Snurmy have success on, lead into that team fighting. Instead, they've left the Ezreal up. Not a huge fan of it because I think the Ezreal's so strong, but the concept's the same. They have Rumble, they have Jinx, already some great team fight potential there. They need some hard CC though to really facilitate these two champs. Leona is something that you could definitely lean towards, but Fnatic might end up denying that in these next two picks.
I feel like Fnatic are getting away with murder here. They're getting the Gwen, they get the Ezreal, they get the Karma. That is a disgusting first rotation. Remember, that Karma, technically flexible, same for the Gwen, but if you stick that Karma and Ezreal on a bottom lane together, that is a hard lane to contest in early levels. You just get poked, you get prodded, you get shoved in really hard.
And I will say, I think KOVA kind of have the pick of the litter of supports. I think all of them kind of have their own merits, right? Nautilus does a better job at locking up the Ezreal with the ultimate. Leona can obviously kind of be disengaged away from, but synergizes better with the Rumble. Of course, Thresh also does better at keeping Jinx safe against Dive. Right now, Fnatic don't really have Dive, but the answer for KOVA right now is going to be the Leona. They want to try and synergize more in team fights. It seems like going to let Snurmy kind of rely more on his own personal positioning. And I don't mind this from KOVA. I think, playing towards the team fight strength is what we kind of highlight as saying this is probably one of the stronger win conditions for KOVA to actually potentially take it to Fnatic.
My concern though is just we've seen previous games like the Rumble against an Ezreal. It's so hard to really find impact with that equalizer. There's also a Karma who can just AoE shield everyone so they can move off it and obviously soak the damage. There's a Gwen, which we saw in the game when Nolty was playing it. You just pop your W and the equalizer doesn't even do anything to you. I think like they have these strong champions in concept, but I think they're going to have a rough time in what Fnatic has, and it's kind of seeing what else they can bring around to facilitate the composition.
Alrighty, well, the Tristana, the Yone have been banned away, so we're looking towards KOVA on the next ban. Probably just going to continue to target mids. They could go for something like the Lucian. Oh, sorry, Lucian's already banned. I'm an idiot. So trying to think actually what other kind of mid laners they could look to ban away here. It looks like that is the attention from both of these teams. I actually didn't go for the Xin Zhao as a ban. Obviously not completely sure where the Gwen is going. Might go top lane, might go mid lane, we'll see.
Yeah, the Gwen, again, I still feel like her strongest role is top, but typically only when I feel like it's a counter pick. So we'll have to sort of wait and see, I suppose, where they want to actually put it. But for now, yeah, Fnatic, like you say, I feel like another mid laner just banning away simply. You could even see a respect ban to Vlad if they really feel like it's an issue, but It's going to be Nard, just removing away that safe blind from Tatui. And now, what will the answer be? I think something like Sion potentially has a lot of value here, just because you're dealing with not like a whole bunch of tank shred. Right now, Bar Gwen obviously having a whole bunch of happy times into a lot of high HP targets. But I feel like, yeah, KOVA, they need more team fighting prowess.
Yep.
This, for me as well, I think Ezreal can actually struggle quite a fair bit into the Wukong.
I think it's adding another layer. So like if the Wukong dives in and Ezreal has to Arcane Shift away, then you have to follow up with the Equalizer, you have the Leona as well. It's having more tools to force that initial way of sort of avoiding the pressure. I feel like for Fnatic, like in the mid lane, something, you could put the Gwen there, but I feel like, you know, we saw the Akali for Fury work really well. I think having something that is mobile is kind of important against this composition. Actually gonna bring out the Nocturne. It's very much still a backline threat towards the Jinx, and I think that's important because as much as this is a heavy dive composition, I think there's a limit to how much peel you can have, and I feel like having some sort of form of pick, having some sort of form of counter dive, and also a big thing, the paranoia causes so much disruption, it can make dive attempts really difficult.
Yeah, I agree. It just seems like there's yeah, okay, that's also a strange one we haven't seen in a while. It just feels like, for me, with the Fnatic composition, if we're talking objectively, there's a lot of just kind of everyone wants to be doing different things in a way. I guess it's mainly just a Nocturne in that sense, but yeah, like you say, still you can just pull the trigger on the Paranoia and it just causes a whole bunch of chaos for KOVA, and they won't be able to see much. Now, I think Azir gives a lot of options to KOVA. Yeah, something poke related into the Azir is almost always pretty strong. And Jace, we've seen a lot of Jace over the last couple of days and weeks in the NLC, and he seems to be doing a whole heap of damage with the Eclipse into the mana immune spike. He just becomes really oppressive, and with the lack of, you know, true traditional hard engage for Fnatic, I think a pick like Jace can really do a lot of work into their draft.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those situations like we're talking about with XL, where it's like a bit harder to execute. Like there's strength in champions. We've obviously got strong individual players.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a huge fan of the Azir because it kind of leans into that sort of backline protection, but you pick the Nocturne, so it's like it kind of splits that. I wouldn't have minded if they picked like the Akali, if the Karma movement speed to reposition, get in, and then you have like the Ezreal who can follow up on these aggressive sort of dives, but it does feel a bit disjointed. Obviously, they still have really strong individual champions, and it is Fnatic, but you know, like as this is pretty good, all things considered, I'd say, for KOVA as coming out of draft.
Yeah, I think KOVA have come out with the tools to be able to take a win off Fnatic. We saw XL, like you said, play a game somewhat similar to that, where, you know, it was a little bit harder to execute, and they ultimately paid the price for that. But for now, it's time for us to throw over to our casters, one of which is Foxdrop, the other one's a Foxy Man. Over to you guys.
I'm trying to work out if it's like an age joke, because, you know, you generally tend to call the older gents Foxy Den, and, you know, I'm pushing.
He's just calling you fit, mate. Honestly.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I mean, I'll take the dub, yeah.
I say I'm pushing 30. I was thinking it's a bit of a nod towards the old manic scoundrel, but he's confirmed he's calling me a fitty. I'll take it. I don't get much of that these days, so I'll take it where I can get it. Right, this game, Fnatic versus KOVA. Now I hesitate to call these types of things one-sided, because I called BTXL Granite one-sided, and Granite like came back and slapped them. So. I hesitate to call these kind of things one-sided. However, you know, KOVA have definitely surprised. Outlandish was super confident in his interview yesterday, although he did say he doesn't like to play the super meta stuff. He does look like he's been shoved in onto the Rumble, which is maybe outside of what we've usually seen him play in the NLC so far. But look at this. I have not seen an Azir in quite some time, Foxy. So let's talk about these two comps. Fnatic's comp, very dive heavy, it looks like. Pride is running with the Ignite TP tech, the Kerberos special on the top side of the map here. But Fnatic look like they've got a whole bunch of damage and a whole bunch of kill pressure, especially onto someone like a Jinx, who really does not have any form of protection this game.
Yeah, I want to echo the sentiments of the desk, really. Like, there's a lot of go-in tools for Fnatic, especially like locking in the Nocturne and the way that you can play Gwen in team fights. This is a little bit out of left field for me, but maybe, you know, it's still a solid carry. You know, you still got a little bit of range coming through from there, and it's something that can kind of reset a team fight if Outlandish lands a really good equalizer. So let's say that the Rumble ulti comes down, it's demolishing a team, you slap down the Azir ult and you bugger off, right? Like, it's kind of a reset button right there for the side of Fnatic. But exactly 100% agree with you. There's so much damage coming through from both teams, really. That's sort of just how the meta plays out, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be pretty explosive either way. Not a lot of tanks flying through this game at all.
I think what KOVA will be looking to do is try and just get a really nice setup with the Wukong Rumble ult, which we've seen so many times before. And then you're just looking to facilitate Snurmy. Get him a reset in a team fight, and suddenly things become very different, and he can very easily take over the game. But for Fnatic, they have so many tools to just kill a Jinx who doesn't have a Lulu or a Karma or, you know, some kind of defensive support to make Jinx survive that much longer. And so there's this weird balancing act between KOVA wanting to set up and set up these aggressive team fights for the Jinx and allow her to get resets, but they also need to be very well aware of the fact that you know, a Nocturne, a Gwen, they can just run you down. The engage almost comes out onto Rux here, who has now just hit level 2. The flash in onto him now. He gets taken down very low. The Ignite is there. The shield just about keeping him alive. As Snurmy gets first blood. Disrespect from the Fnatic bot lane. And the engage comes through again. Flash there from being instant cleanse. And there's the teleport. No one has flash for KOVA, but it gets cancelled.
Yeah, cancelled. Oh my goodness, what is going on? So much action happening right here. I was staring at the minimap. I was like, is Featherman going to get in, or is Jace going to knock him out? And oh my goodness, just about there. Simply saving his bot lane. Featherman on that Azir would have been able to mop up at least 1 kill there, I reckon. But my goodness, so much action starting already. We're only even 3 minutes into the game. First blood for Jinx. Really, 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 really nice. Your scaling champion gets that early advantage. Yeah, very happy about that one.
Gonna have the Cull now as well, starting to, as you said, accelerate towards that late game. It's always nice to be able to pick that up early on the laning phase, but it doesn't really like provide detriment, or at least you know, add to a weak early laning phase that Jinx can sometimes have. So that's a nice pickup, and as you said, will help accelerate her to where she actually becomes extremely relevant. Maxi's just kind of turbo farming at this point, just trying to get himself to level 6 as quickly as possible. Of course, we know, as any jungler really knows, it's difficult to be a champion on Nocturne before level 6.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to Nocturne's Scuttle early on.
Yeah, Nocturne has a lot of strength pre-6, but not a lot of agency.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of like buzzwords, but basically he's really strong. It's just really hard for him to actually like find ways to use that strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he doesn't have a gap closer, no reliable CC, that kind of thing. So yeah, the fact that he's able to double Scuttle is really nice though. But that's really just a product of KOVA's solo lanes. They don't have fire outland. Simply kind of threw away his lane there a little bit by interrupting the teleport, which, don't get me wrong, is completely worth it. But, you know, did put him in a position where he got like poked back, and then, you know, he's not going to have that mid-pro. And Gwen being Gwen, doing Gwen things in the top side, was able to also get that push in against the Wukong. So Outlandish a little bit behind here on that farm. Not going to be particularly happy about that. But the important thing is for him, he just wants to hit level 6 when the first big fight happens. If that is around the dragon, then it will be there or whatever. But Rumble very much an ultimate reliant champion, as is Nocturne, so getting those level 6s is going to be really important.
Yeah, Maxi's just about pulling ahead in terms of experience right now. He's going for another full clear through his jungle. And there's no real pressure for him to do anything else right now. As you correctly said, you know, against another jungler who is also quite level 6 reliant, you don't often see too much action in these types of matchups. Now, KOVA feeling confident in their bot lane duo, Rux and Dean, definitely struggling to have that same kind of pressure they had very early on in the laning phase, and Tiara stepping up whenever he can to just threaten and engage on this side of the map. Now Snurmy does not have teleport, does not have flash, and that's going to be a flash in from Maxi. I think Tiara has just accepted the fact that his AD carry is going to die here, and Bean will pick up the kill.
That timing was just exceptional there from Maxi, like quite literally perfect timing. Featherman's in trouble though.
I don't think Featherman's getting out of this one. He does have that flash. He does have flash.
Wait.
But both,
well, I mean,
both Atlantic simply had flash, right? So
exactly. He just trade 1 for 1 if he did flash. There's an argument for, you know, Azir being a bit more mobile, so flash not meaning as much to him, so being a trade and flash isn't too bad. But, you know, it's kind of semantics at the end of the day. Good gank there by Outlandish. Good gank in the bot side from Maxi as well. And he's going to set up this first dragon of the game for KOVA. Gonna get that Cloud Dragon. Nice start for these guys.
Maxi yet to hit level 6. I think should be almost there once he takes this camp away. Almost. Pretty close.
Yeah, he's close. Yeah, and we'll have a look on where he decides to use this level 6. Because there's, if he gets this crab, he should most certainly be level 6. I don't know 100% what Outlandish's XP's on, but I would imagine it's something similar for him as well. But the first Nocturne ulti, they're basically like neck and neck in XP. But it's going to be Maxi picking this one up. And now for Maxi, you have to make a decision whenever you're playing Nocturne. Like, you have a really high impact ultimate, and that's great, but there's a lot of pressure for you to do a good ultimate. If you mess it up, if you fail your first ulti, it has a ridiculously long cooldown at rank 1. So a lot of playing Nocturne is just your decision making about where you want to ult, and honestly, the best place to do it most times is bot side. You have a lot of good setup for that. You've got it's a very long lane as well. So let's say KOVA pushes in here, which it looks like they're doing. You know, you can ult them and just run them down. KOVA have to be aware of this though. They have to know the Nocturne's in position. Could be a little bit scary here. Here he comes.
Now, Snurmy doesn't have his flash, but yeah, here we go. Snurmy does not yet have his flash. It's so close to coming off cooldown, but he won't get it back in time. And now Tiara's the second one on the chopping block, but he has that available and will be able to escape. It is up for Snurmy. We were seconds away from that flash being up and available. Perfectly timed gank from Maxi.
And Nocturne just so strong at those kind of things. You know, it's like I said though, the lane's just so long. If you're pushing like that, you have to respect Nocturne. You have to respect it because it's so simple for him to get a gank like that. KOVA, I really think just dropping the ball a little bit on that one, because you know Snurmy had a great start to this game. You know, like they got that 2v2 kill, got that first blood onto him, but since then, you know, 2 kills have gone into the pocket of Bean, which is obviously not what you want to have happen. As it looks like though, Outlandish now is hovering around this mid side. Has to be quite careful. Doesn't want to take this one because there is a Herald rotation coming through here as well. Now Rumble has his ulti. Nocturne doesn't have his, and the equalizer is big in these fights.
Yeah, you can see also that the AD carries are on the bottom side of the map, and Bean has been given a lot of the gold early on here. He's one of the stronger players on the Fnatic Rising roster. Now Outlandish has that equalizer, as you said. And it comes down beautifully placed onto Forbidden, forces him out of the fight already, and now here comes the Wukong. Tati gets the knock up, the first kill comes through, the second one slipped through and simply gets it. And they'll also pick up this Rift Herald too. I mean, that to me was a little bit in from Fnatic. They did not have the ultimates to contest.
You just have to respect Rumble, man. Rumble does such disgusting stuff around objectives just because of the way the terrain works. You know, it's generally a small area to play against. And as soon as Fnatic backed up against the wall, you just slide that red carpet down. There's nowhere to go. Fnatic have to back away, stuck between a rock and a hard place. And yeah, able to get those 2 kills plus the Rift Herald there for KOVA, which is really, really impressive stuff for these guys. This early game is going very well for them. Almost 2,000 gold in the lead. Once that Herald gets dropped, that'll be even higher as well. Good stuff from KOVA.
Yeah, and also like Bean didn't rotate. Like I get the idea, right? Giving Bean solo experience, solo gold, but he's got your kills. He had a lot of your gold. He's like one of the strongest people, especially with Sheen early on. Like that gives Ezreal a little mini power spike to work with as well. And they just left him on the bottom side of the map with no Nocturne ultimate to work with in that team fight too. And as you said, they were grouped up around terrain, which forced Forbidden out of the fight immediately. It just wasn't a good setup for Fnatic going into that Rift Herald fight.
Yeah, and this is us not even mentioning Tatooine. He's like very similar to Rumble, you know, just big AoE OT that just destroys team fights. Yeah, it's just KOVA great at that, Fnatic not great at that, and for some reason Fnatic decided to go through, which I think is definitely a bit of disrespect there. But moving on here to where we are currently, 10 minutes on into the game. Relatively even so far, but don't forget that there is that Rift Herald in pocket for Outlandish. So whereas not a lot's happening right now, wherever Outlandish decides to chuck that down, we'll have a, you know, I imagine a lot of people will be grouping up around there. If I am KOVA, I'm looking at that mid lane specifically, because otherwise it's a little bit hard to break mid tower against Nazir. Obviously, there's huge value in bringing that mid tower down, but even more so when you're going up against a control mage that can clear waves really easily, like Azir can.
Well, we are heading towards that second dragon. It is going to be an ocean, which means we'll either have a infernal or mountain soul this game. And KOVA have had complete control of these objectives for the time being. Like, they have played better around these earlier fights. And Outlandish did manage to secure that first dragon as well off the back of a kill that they picked up. Fnatic just looking a little out of sorts. You can see Rux has stepped up a little too far. Tiara could have potentially looked for the engage with Outlandish just being in that side brush, waiting for his angle, but he's maybe waiting. I mean, for Maxi's heading down, it's clear that Fnatic will likely want to make a play around this bottom side of the map.
Yeah.
So
I think the best strategy here for KOVA is to counter this gank. Nocturne jumps in, but he can't jump out, and if that happens, then bam, you just lay down the red carpet and whatnot, and you're sorted. But it looks like they actually went for that aggressive play instead. Doesn't work out for them. Now Dragon has spawned, so not having that Leona ulti is a little bit of a downside for that. But importantly, Rumble ulti equalizer still up. Wukong has his ulti, but no teleport just yet. We'll see what happens between these two champions around this Dragon area. They might just decide to concede it, not go for this one.
Well, it doesn't look like Outlandish is particularly concerned about that Dragon right now. And also Maxi taking his time with starting it up. Tatui is working towards the Triforce, it looks like, as his item. Will be a bit more of a damage threat coming through in these fights. So a lot of damage, like not even having a sort of a tankier side on things on the Wukong. He's just going straight for pure damage to layer on top of that equalizer coming out from the Rumble. But Maxi should be able to secure this second Drake of the game. And we are going to get a Mountain Stomp. So there we go.
I don't think Triforce builds out of Phage and Sheen anymore. It's like Kindle Gem and stuff.
I'm playing too much Wild Rift, mate. I'm playing too much Wild Rift where the items are older.
I do the exact same thing, honestly. I do the exact same thing. That's going to be a Divine Sunderer for Wukong instead, because Divine Sunderer is like really, really strong right now. It got its buffs. Also works more as like a bruiser item. Yeah, don't feel too bad at the beginning. You know, did you see the segment we had right at the top of the day where the players were guessing items based on their build paths? Yeah, Triforce was on that, and I was like, I don't know what that item is.
Mate,
these items,
the problem is that because I do so much Wild Rift stuff right now, and they have all of the Season 10 items, I'm constantly like, I see like a Phage and a Triforce, I'm like, oh, it's clearly a Phage and a Sheen, and it's like, oh, it's clearly Triforce. But obviously, I've got to get my head back in the Season 11. Why did you change the items, Rito? Come on.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, I'm still stuck in Season 2, to be fair, so I've got a bit of catching up to do. But hey, yeah, Divine Sunderer, really strong right now. That's going to be Wukong's option here instead. Getting that Rito down for a bit. Got Rug's face check in. Uh-oh.
Yeah, a layered CC on top of him right now. Here comes the Nocturne ultimate, looking for an angle to go in, but loads of TPs coming through. They'll dive straight onto Simply in the back line, who gets taken super low. Pride picks up the kill. And that should be another kill onto Outlandish too, as Forbidden somehow gets away. The rocket comes through from Snurmy, but no flash now for the Jinx. Will leave him a pretty easy target for Fnatic to collapse on. And Tatui does not have his ultimate either, although it looks like Fnatic do not want this fight and will end up backing away. 2 for 2 at the end of the day. Pretty hairy team fight right here. 5v5, 14 minutes in the bot side. Love to see such scrappy games coming through. I actually think that would have favored KOVA more than Fnatic, but I think Fnatic played that one pretty well, and they split the fight nicely, able to just go 2 for 2 in that one instead. But a lot of ultimates were blown there as well, so especially like with the Nocturne ulti being down, a big deal right here. Gonna be safe for a little while longer. I want to see, it looks like maybe, you know, with Rumble just running down bot side, they might look for another play here. His ulti's almost back up. Equalizer is almost back up and available, and Tiara has his ultimate ready to go. They could look for the engage. I mean, Maxi doesn't have his, so he'll have to be walking through and actually going to face check into Outlandish. Will dive forwards onto him as here comes the red carpet. But Maxi's the celebrity and just walks straight over it.
Yeah, it's the risk right there. Playing versus Nocturne, really, really strong. So much damage coming through from that guy. If you tag someone with your Q, you get a bunch of bonus AD. If you can block a skill with your W, that's a bunch of attack speed, plus the base attack speed it already gets you. You get some nice DC as well. It's just, man, Nocturne, if he's able to do it, he just has so much damage. And yeah, Rumble just walking into him, not very nice for him. Looks like as well, KOVA are going to have to back away from the spot side of the map. But they're getting best of both worlds here because, wow, Flag bullying KOVA off of the bot tower and taking top Herald.
Well, I think Tatui's going to face check here into Pride and stop him from taking that for free. Bean has picked up the Divine Sunderer as well, which is a huge spike for the Ezreal. Like, Ezreal Divine Sunderer is pretty disgusting, and he'll have that ready to go. 3-0 for Bean at this point in time, and they should be able to pick up the first turret of the game on the spot side of the map.
There it is, going down right there. I think Rux didn't have to stand so close. He could have given that solo over to Bean. Would have funneled him a little bit more there, but still, Outlandish now. Oh my goodness, he's caught again. He's in trouble.
2 catches in a row onto Outlandish. Is now going to be Forbidden. Focus down. Stuns come through from Tiara. Tatui gets the knock up. Night Emperor's Divide from Forbidden. He dodges away from the shock blast and walks out scot-free.
Really well played there by Forbidden. My goodness, It looked for sure like he was going down right there. KOVA dedicated a lot of resources, honestly, into the top side of that play to try and get the return kill and avenge Outlandish. Yeah, Empress Divide coming up huge right there to knock 2 people over the wall. But honestly, got to criticize Outlandish a little bit there. Yes, Fnatic did put a lot of stuff down into the bot side of the map. And when that happens, you want to try and get something on the other side of the map. But in this situation, just a little bit too far forward, a little bit too risky, and he does get punished for it. There it is. He was just trying to punish by getting that blue buff for himself, but it's not to be. And here we see Tiara flashing over the... No, not flashing, excuse me. Just jumping over the wall. Tattoo is the one who flashes in. Just a lot of stuff blown. But it's not quite enough. Good sidestep there from Febby. You see how he's kind of like faking it out? He's like pathing top side, and then when he sees the acceleration gate go through, he starts pathing bot side. Cheeky boy.
Rift Herald dropped mid, maybe creating a bit of pressure around this second Drake for either attack team. That's going to create some natural priority and allow KOVA to set up for this second Drake of the game. They'll have that area covered. Lots of vision down for them too, especially around those croppy areas with the Mountain Soul creating some new terrain for them. You can see Forbiven just looking on the sidelines. I don't feel like KOVA is strong enough to hold this position though. And Fnatic are very easily able to walk in. Though I say that, Forbiven almost got caught out. Now they're boxing them in. They are absolutely sandwiched. The soldiers keeping them in. The comes through. Oh no.
What?
Oh no. It's a terrible time for a pause. They are absolutely... Yeah. It's... Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, okay. So KOVA were like... They were sandwiched. They were caught there. And an Empress Divide would have been absolutely massive. That's... I mean, at least at this point, you can kind of theorize how the hell you get out of dodge right now, because KOVA are not in a great spot.
Yeah, they're just like a prey caught in a trap right now, and you Fnatic circling them and looking for the right angle to go in on this team fight. And I mean, KOVA, like you said, they have, well, 0 flash. The only flash available is Tiara, so you can't flash over the wall. That's not a way that you get out.
Yeah,
you have to fight your way out, fists flailing at this point if you're KOVA. And the problem for them, based on what we see on this team fight, the problem for them is, where does your equalizer go? You have Maxi coming from Tribrush. You have Rux and Bean at just outside Dragon Pit. You have Pride over the wall in your own jungle, and then Forbiven in bot lane. There is not a good place where you're going to get multiple people locked in an equalizer. And Fnatic, they love this kind of stuff. Bean and Rux are going to be able to kite for days backwards. As you said, the Emperor's Divide can be huge to box them in even further. Pride can come over the side, gain a load of resistances in the mist and just pop someone off. And then there's obviously Maxi looking for, you know, someone to pop off with his ultimate as well. So not a great place for KOVA to be in. It's
yeah, really not good. Really not good. You know, if it was the opposite and Fnatic were the ones grouped up and KOVA were spread out around them, it'll be great. You throw Wukong in, you throw Leona ulti in, and then you just layer the Rumble on top of that and sorted. You're done. You know, and that's the team fight one. But yeah, it's really quite difficult because with Rumble ulti, you're gonna want to have to find as many targets as you can, maybe get a choke or something like that. And that's just not the way this fight is positioned right now. I think the best bet for them is to try and just throw everything at 1 or 2 targets, and with that, then maybe you can just blow some people up before it actually gets to a proper like 5v5. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good, this position here for KOVA. Game's very equal up until this point as well, of course. Like with 6 kills apiece, there's less than 1k gold in it. Each team has 1 dragon in their pocket. So this is going to be a really, really big, impactful fight for shaping the rest of the game.
Yeah, as you said, like this is probably going to be it. Like if Fnatic can capitalize on what seems to be a superior like positional advantage coming into this dragon fight, this could be that springboard they need to completely snowball the game. But if they can't, then KOVA are able to get out and keep things equal, then we are still looking at a game that could swing either way at this point in time. The second dragon doesn't really mean much either. Like second dragon for either team really does mean diddly squat. Apart from getting you just 1 step closer to the soul. And it's a Mountain Soul, so it's not exactly like it's game-breaking, game-endings type of soul, but it looks like Simply has reconnected to the game. So hopefully we are pretty close to seeing how this plays out. Now, I'm gonna imagine that Bean and Rux just keep them boxed in. We're going to look for a big ult from Forbiven to kind of just like get a huge amount of damage off. Maxi's going to pick off probably the Jinx at some point, and Pride's just going to come in and start bopping people with the scissors. That's probably the way that it's going to go.
So there's two things about this as well that's worth mentioning. When you play versus Nocturne, as soon as Nocturne lays down his ulti, it completely like shrouds your vision. So you actually don't really know where to run, where to go. It's actually like a perfectly themed ultimate for a champion like Nocturne. And so in this situation, it's like, yeah, like where do you run to? How do you play this team fight? And then before you know it, everyone's jumped on top of you and you're donezo. Having said that, because of this pause, like they're able to just really assess the situation. So that even when Nocturne uses his ulti, they should still have like a plan in mind for what they want to do and where they want to run. And I think it's just important that they stick together. This is tantalizing because I just want to see it unfold, because this looks like we're about to witness an absolute murder from the side of Fnatic. Like, I really think KOVA is just gonna get obliterated here, and I just want to see it unfold. But of course, nothing happening just yet. Simply did have some lag issues, restarted his router, he's reconnected now, and I think we're looking like we're going to be getting this game soon. So hopefully we won't have to theorize too much, and we'll actually be able to see it happen.
Looks like it looks like he's ready. So I think we're both teams are ready to go. Simply has said that he's good, and we are jumping back into this. We need to get back into this team fight straight away, though, because it does look like we're on the very verge of seeing something crazy happen.
I'm excited. I'm really. And okay, nice. We're getting back into the game. We should be getting back into the game really soon. Okay, so even Stevens right here in the game. Big dragon fight. Positioning for KOVA, all grouped up. There is sandwiched.
They managed to, by the way, back when Pride is on the sidelines here, looking for the engage. Here goes the Emperor's Divide, and it is big, and it is murder right across the board. A double kill for Pride. Yes, they can claim one back, but it went exactly as you'd expect. KOVA run ragged in their team fight around the dragon, and Fnatic will walk away with it too.
Perfect positioning in the river right there around the dragon, to get almost the clean ace for Fnatic in a game that was very equal up until this point. Significantly in the lead here for Fnatic, picking up that second dragon as well. How disheartening though, legit. If you're KOVA, like, you knew that was coming, and you just sit there for like 5 minutes.
You were staring at a pause screen for 5 minutes knowing this is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the 5-man Emperor's Divide, really huge. Pride jumping in here as well. It's just like, it's just, yeah, you just get sandwiched. Look at this. There it is. There's the engage from Fedven, and then Pride able to do a bunch of damage as well. Nocturne's jumping in, doing a bunch. And because Nocturne's going for that Stride Breaker build, he's a little bit tankier than you would normally expect Nocturne to be. So he is able to soak up a lot of attention. Yeah, he does die, but still only the single death coming through from Fnatic. And now with KOVA, you're in a bit of a pickle here now, lads.
Looks like Fedven getting caught out again on the top side of the map. He will eventually go down. Outlandish picks it up, but not much you can do with that single pick right now. He's not exactly like KOVA can convert. True Shot Barrage does a bunch of damage to Smurmy. He'll be forced back away from that mid lane tier 1. But Fnatic have got a relatively good platform to succeed from here. 4-0-5 with Bean as well. Divine Sunder at Ezreal is a bit of a nuisance, and he is in a very strong spot.
Absolutely. 2 items are like the big thing for Fnatic's team comp. You've got Azir, who wants to get that 2 item. You've also got Gwen, who goes for Riftmaker into oh my goodness, I always get it mixed up. It's Nash's Tooth, right? Yes. I think it's Nash's Tooth. It's the AP attack speed item. I always get its name mixed up, and my stream always shouts at me for it. I'm so sorry if I get it wrong this time. But either way, you know, with being there as well, obviously with the Divine Sunderer and Manamune, it's a lot. You know, it's a lot of 2-item power spikes here, and the fact that Fnatic's been able to accelerate that with that last fight, being now absolutely massive in this game. Massive right here. 2 items and one of the strongest champions in the game right now. 20 minutes. It's just huge.
Fnatic Rising should be able to get this top lane tier 1 here. Bean is now essentially frontline. There's the equalizer, right? Well placed, actually, from Outlandish. Here comes the ultimate from Jinx, and the flash can't even save him. KOVA able again to slot a team fight together, getting an individual pick. They do lose a tower. I would say like a pick for a tower is a big, you know, relatively good, but now KOVA looking for the Baron. This could be risky though, because Pride is very strong as well, and he could potentially stop this Baron from going down.
Okay, yeah, risky is definitely a word for this one. There's no Ezreal, it's 4v5, but I don't think Fnatic need him.
They don't need him as the Empress Divide forces them back into the pit. Pride going straight in onto Snurmy. And again, it feels like KOVA are boxed in a death cage as Pride starts to pop off again. Huge damage coming through from him. Snip, snip, snip for the triple kill. And Tati will have to be forced out over to the Tri-Brush. Fnatic now, they look like they want to go for the Baron themselves. They do have Maxi available. True Shot Barrage won't find its target, but it is Tati versus the world. He'll have to back off, and Fnatic will say thank you for the leash, and we'll take the Baron.
Way too overhypey there from KOVA. They did a really good job to respond to that tower going down and pick up the kill on Bean, including the shutdown. All that gold in pocket of Snurmy. You should have really just been happy with that one. This is just way too much. Way too much at this point. Sure, there's no Ezreal on the board, but it's so early on into the game. They don't need the Ezreal. And look, it's Gwen, man. It's Gwen. You can't disrespect a Gwen like this. Gwen might not be great in like massive full-blown 5v5s, especially as the game goes on later on. But if she can act as like a skirmisher, a bit like a Renekton might do, she's just going to eat you alive. And that's exactly what happened. 8-1 and 2 now for Pride. 700 gold on his head. My goodness, this Gwen is popping off. We're seeing why it's being banned all the time in NLC.
Yeah. We've got no Gwen games up until this point, and now we've had 2 in a single day. People just letting Gwen slip through. I don't think many teams are going to make that mistake against Gwen in the future. It does seem like she is very, very strong. But I mean, as the analyst desk rightly said, there are just so many power picks on Fnatic right now. The Ezreal, the Karma, the Gwen, even the Nocturne in some people's books acting as a pretty strong power pick in this current meta. And now Fnatic, with that Baron, are starting to push towards those inhibitor towers. Big gold swings happening for them as they claim all of that standing gold on the map.
And going back to the draft, it's, as you say, loads of these power picks coming through. You mentioned Gwen, Karma, and Ez. That was their 1, 2, 3. Like, that was literally just the first 2 champions they picked. And from that point, it was like, wow, okay. Yeah, there's some pretty strong champions there. I do think KOVA did pretty well to kind of salvage the draft in a way and give themselves a fighting chance. But either way, like, these champions are just so strong, and against a team like Fnatic, there's the engage.
There's the engage. Being going to be the target of the Wukong ultimate, but he does so much damage. And look, Pride just on the backline again, able to get the damage down. Even though the shutdown comes through, they've already lost 3 members of their team, and Fnatic only 1. Inhibitors are now open. I don't think Snurmy and Outlandish can actually do this. I don't think they can defend against the onslaught of Fnatic with these Baron minions. It should be 2 inhibitors for Fnatic Rising.
2 inhibs setting themselves up for this next dragon as well, unless they want to just try and end the game, because they do have 2 waves pushing in from both sides, from mid and top. Looks like they're not going to go for that one. Going to respect KOVA a little bit more, put themselves on this soul point by picking up this next dragon. But again, Fnatic coming out on top. KOVA trying to get the engage, trying to make that pick. Just a little bit too far behind, not able to make it happen.
Doesn't feel like there's a good avenue back in other than Jinx late game for KOVA, and we're only at 2.5 items for this Jinx. Although, yes, she is strong at this point in time. She's not, I can carry the game solo kind of strong. And Bean now, his frozen heart, he's really just like got a huge like slew of both defensive and offensive capabilities at this point too. That's pretty insane.
Oh,
for Vivian, he's this is just justice for Vivian. He just wants to get his own back on Outlandish for all of those ganks onto him, and he'll be able to do so as Tati is now the second target, Bean chasing him down. A double kill for this Ezreal. You can see why so many people ban it, and in goes Maxi. Immediate stopwatch, but the fear lands, and Bean will convert, looking for the angle, takes him down incredibly low, and they should be able to chase this Jinx into the grave. It'll be Tiara next on the chopping block. He'll drop as well. A delayed Penta for Bean maybe, but a delayed Penta for Bean as he gets a double followed by a triple, and that should be the end of the game for Fnatic Rising.
The last time these 2 teams met, it was a pentakill for Bean as well to end the game out. Really good stuff here from Fnatic. It looked, KOVA had some looks in at the start, but the draft, really, really good. So many power picks here for Fnatic, and the caliber. This team just so talented, showing you right now why they're the best teams in NLC.
And I think that statement is something that I do want to end on. There is always that discussion between XL and Fnatic, who the best team in the NLC are. But the way that Fnatic have played firmly, in my opinion, has cemented them as the best performing team of our first 2 weeks. I think they have, had some wobbles at times, but clearly you can see they are not making the same mistakes as XL. And right now, Fnatic starting off on the best foot possible. They are undefeated in their group, something that they are not unused to, and obviously have that edge over XL right now. Look, we're going to go to a break. When we're back, our analyst desk will break down that a little further, and they should have an interview with Fnatic.